Dear students, welcome to the science class. In the last class, we started with the topic that is nothing but nutrition in the plants. We discussed about the nutrition in plants, that is nothing but it is going to do the autotrophic nutrition. Therefore, plants are known as autotrophs. Right? They are going to prepare their own food by themselves. That preparation of that food is nothing but what it is named as photosynthesis. We discussed about the various raw materials for the photosynthesis. From where does they are going to get that raw material? How the raw material is going to enter into the their plants? Where does the food factory of the plants is going to be there? It is on the leaves, so that all the raw material should enter into the leaves. How does those raw materials are going to travel in that plant? We have discussed in the last class. That is nothing but the carbon dioxide is going to come from the stomata due to the opening of the stomata. In the same manner, the water which is present in the soil is going to travel through the roots by vessels to the leaves, as well as the sunlight is going to absorb by the leaves. In the last class, we also discussed about that sun, why it is a major or ultimate source of energy. Why it is ultimate source of energy? Why every living organism is dependent on the sun. The same manner we also discussed that photosynthesis is very important. Without photosynthesis, the life on the earth will be nil. The life on the earth will be nil. Why? Due to the photosynthesis, due to sunlight, the photosynthesis process is occurring. Due to the photosynthesis, human beings or all the living beings are surviving. So that the byproducts of that photosynthesis is nothing but is oxygen. For the purpose of the respiration, we require oxygen. Where does it coming from? It is coming from the photosynthesis. If the photosynthesis is not there, is it possible to survive on this planet? No, it is not possible. Is it possible to get the required amount of essential nutrients? It is not possible without the photosynthesis as well as without the sun, which we discussed in the last class. In today's class, in the last class, we also discussed that the byproducts, that is nothing but the end products which are produced by the photosynthesis are nothing but the carbohydrates, which are nothing but the carbohydrates in the form of glucose as well as the starch. The food which are produced by the plants are nothing but glucose and the starch, which we discussed in the last class. In the same manner, if you remember the sixth standard class, the essential nutrients which are required by any body are what? Those are nothing but those are what? Carbohydrates, proteins, fats, minerals, and what? Minerals, vitamins. In the same manner, phages, that is nothing but dietary fiber. If you check the condition, in the photosynthesis, they are just going to produce what? They are just going to produce carbohydrates in the form of glucose or starch. That glucose or starch is going to be stored in the form of fat after the further processing. So that is it carbohydrate is only essential for the plant to grow? Is it only essential amount of the carbohydrate is going to on those things plants are going to survive? It doesn't require any other nutrients like proteins, fats. It doesn't require those things. No, it requires those things also. It is not only dependent on the carbohydrate. Carbohydrate is the purpose for the growth of that organism, for the structural and shape development of that plants. It requires proteins as well as fat for the purpose of the protection of that plant. So that from where does they are going to get the protein? How they are going to make the protein? We are going to discuss in this class. That is nothing but the synthesis of the plant food other than the carbohydrate. Other food of the plant is nothing but what? It is fat as well as what? It is proteins. Fats as well as proteins. Now how they are going to synthesize their fat and protein? If you remember the carbohydrate is nothing but it is the mixture of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen. It has the major elements as carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. Protein is the same manner, it has the carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. But proteins are the nitrogenous products. These are the nitrogenous materials. Proteins are the nothing but it is nitrogenous as carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. Along with that, They require what? They require nitrogen to produce proteins. Always remember, proteins are having the nitrogen. Nitrogenous food nutrients are nothing but those are the proteins. In the same manner, fats are nothing but which contains the carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Same manner, fats and carbohydrates contain the same carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen, but the proteins are contains the nitrogenous. So that how they are going to synthesize the fats? First, we are going to see that. They are going to synthesize the fat by utilizing the carbohydrate. They are going to process that carbohydrate. They are going to synthesize the fat in the form of the seeds. In the form of the seeds. If you remember the seeds like groundnut seeds, mustard oil seeds, mustard seeds, those seeds contains what? Those seeds contain the fat. In this manner, the fat can be generated, synthesized by using the carbohydrate, which are going to convert it into seeds. So that the fats is going to come from the seeds. The fats are going to come from the seeds. Right? In the same manner, from where does they are going to get the proteins? How they are going to synthesize the protein? If you remember, proteins are the nitrogenous what? Nitrogenous products. If you remember, the proteins are the nitrogenous product. Already they have the carbon, hydrogen, oxygen in the form of the carbohydrate. If you remember, our earth is abundant of the gases. They require nitrogen. They require nitrogen means in the manner carbon dioxide which is entering the plants through the stomata. Is it possible to that nitrogen is also going to enter in through the stomata? No, it is not possible. Right? It is present abundant in the environment. That is nothing but our environment contains 78% of the nitrogen gas. But plants doesn't require nitrogen gas directly. They are not going to utilize the nitrogen gas which is present in the environment, so that they are going to convert that nitrogen into the nitrate. They require nitrogen in the form of nitrate. Right? They require nitrogen in the form of nitrate. From where does they are going to absorb that nitrate? They are going to absorb the nitrate from the soil. Right? How that nitrogen is going to get converted into nitrates? By the bacteria known as rhizobium. Rhizobium bacteria are which is going to fix the nitrogen into the nitrate form. That nitrate form is going to mix with the water, so that what those can be absorbed by the roots, so that they can be transferred to the every other parts of that plant. That is nothing but every other parts of the plant, nothing but leaves, every part. By utilizing that nitrate, combining with the carbohydrate, they are going to produce what? They are going to produce the proteins. In this manner, they are going to produce the protein. That is nothing but nitrogen. I am going to tell this step by step. To produce the proteins, they require nitrogen. The nitrogen which is present in the environment is in the form of nitrogen gas. The nitrogen gas is not going to directly take up by the plant. They are not going to directly take that nitrogen. So that this nitrogen is going to convert into some other form. That is nothing but it is going to convert it into nitrate form. How they are going to convert into nitrate form? By the bacteria which are present in the soil are going to convert the nitrogen into nitrates. Those nitrates are absorbed by the roots. Those nitrates are absorbed by the roots. Those roots by the vessels are going to supply the nitrates to the all other body parts of the plant. When they supply, they are going to synthesize the proteins along with their carbohydrates. So that they are going to see that. First thing, nitrogen gas. Nitrogen gas which is present in the atmosphere. Which is present in the atmosphere. Which is present in all the atmosphere. Let be the plant. I want nitrogen. It is not going to directly take those things. So that nitrogen is going to where? It is going to the soil. It is going to the soil. This nitrogen is going to convert it into nitrates. This nitrogen is going to convert it into nitrates. Why? Nitrogen is not going to directly take up by the plants. For that reason, it should be converted into nitrate. It should be converted into nitrate. So that the nitrogen in the soil. In the soil, bacteria which are present in the soil is going to convert the nitrogen into nitrates. Bacteria convert In the soil, bacteria convert nitrogen into the nitrates. These nitrates are going to obtained by the roots. These bacteria, this nitrate is going to take by the plant roots. These bacteria is going to take by the plant roots from the soil. From this soil, so that by this thing, the plants are going to produce proteins. By using this, plants are going to synthesize proteins. I hope this is clear. That nothing but plants are not going to take directly the nitrogens. Nitrogen should be converted into nitrates. How it is going to convert? Nitrogen which is present in the environment, atmosphere, from the soil, bacteria which are present in the soil, those bacteria are going to convert the nitrogen into nitrates. That nitrates are absorbed by the plant roots. Then by the plants are going to synthesize this using the nitrates. They are going to synthesize the proteins which are essential for the plants, for the purpose of the protection of the plants. In this manner, they are going to synthesize the foods other than the carbohydrates, so that nitrogen rich food items are very, very essential for the plant. If you remember, every person belong to the farmer family background. We have fields. We have to grow a number of grains. We have to do agriculture. For the agriculture purposes, we are going to buy the fertilizers. The fertilizers which are rich in the nitrogen, we are going to buy those things. Why we are going to buy those things? Because nitrogen is essential nutrient which is required by the plant as the food, which is going to give the proteins to the which is going to give the proteins to the plants. So then every farmer use the fertilizers to give the nitrogenous requirement by the plants. For that reason, we are going to use the fertilizers, urea fertilizers as the mineral form as well as the nitrogen form for the purpose of the protection or for the purpose of the growth of that plants. I hope this is clear how the plants are going to synthesize plant food other than the carbohydrates. So that you remember, the conversion of the nitrogen is going to convert it into nitrates by the bacteria which are present in the soil. If you want the names of the bacteria, that is nothing but those are the rhizobium, nitrobacters. Those are the bacteria which are going to convert these things. Right? I hope this is clear. Next, we are going to discuss that other mode of nutrition in the plants. Up to this point, we discussed about the autotrophic nutrition only. We have discussed about the autotrophic nutrition only, that plants are going to make their own food by themselves. But in some plants there will be no presence of the chlorophyll. Some plants are not have the chlorophyll. Then how they are going to prepare their food? How they are going to nullify the nutritional requirement? Going to adjust to their nutritional requirement? In the same manner, some plants doesn't have the synthesizing of the proteins. They don't know how to synthesize the proteins by themselves. Then how does they are going to take their food, on which they are dependent? So that this about autotrophic nutrition is over. So that other modes of nutrition is nothing but heterotrophic nutrition in the plants. That is nothing but some plants, not all the plants, some plants are going to be dependent on some other organism, some other plants, or some other animal beings, or some other insects. Right? They are going to depend on the different organism, so that to satisfy their food requirement. So that in there are other modes of nutrition in plants. We have a parasitic plants. That is nothing but parasitic nutrition. We have insectivorous plants. That is nothing but the plants which are dependent on the insects for the purpose of their food. In the same manner, we have a saprotrophic plants. Saprotrophic plants are nothing but the plants which are dependent on the dead decay matter. In the same as symbiotic plants, where their plants are going to live together. Two different species of the plants are going to live together, so they are symbiotic. That means they are going to help each other for the purpose of the shelter, as for the purpose of the force. Together they are going to live. Symbiosis. Together they are going to live so that they are going to satisfy their food requirement. These are the different modes of the what? Other modes of the nutrition in the plants. So that one by one we are going to discuss. First thing is parasitic plants. So that one by one we are going to discuss the different modes of the nutrition in the plants. Other modes of the nutrition in the plants. First example, parasitic plants. First type is parasitic plant. In Kannada, parasitic is nothing but paravalambi. Paravalambi. That is nothing but which are dependent on the other beings, other plant beings. So that is the parasitic plants. There will be no presence of the chlorophyll. There will be no presence of the chlorophyll. No presence of the chlorophyll. If there is no presence of the chlorophyll, if you remember the photosynthesis, the major site of the the major site of the photosynthesis is nothing but the leaves. In that leaves, the sunlight is going to absorb by the pigment known as chlorophyll. If there is no presence of the chlorophyll, that means these plants are able to make their own food. No, it is not possible. So that to justify or to satisfy their nutrition requirement, they are going to depend on the other plants. So that when you take a plant, if this is a plant, this is a plant which is grown here. This is a plant which is grown here, like this, like this. On this plant, these parasitic plants are going to be dependent. So therefore, the parasitic plants are going to grow along with these plants. They are going to grow along with these plants. So that by using these plants, they are going to just satisfy the nutrition requirement. They are going to take out all the essential nutrients which are required by this plant from their plant, which is going to produce their own food. So that they are going to depend on those things. By these things, we can say that parasitic plants are nothing but parasitic plants are which are dependent on the other plants, which are dependent on the other plants for the purpose of their food. For the purpose of their food are nothing but the parasitic plants. So that parasitic plants are the plants which are dependent on the other plants, which are dependent on the other plant for the purpose of nutrients. Right? Parasitic plants are nothing but the plants which are required dependent on the other plants for the purpose of nutrients. That is nothing but for the purpose of the food. Let this be a plant one. First plant. This is the plant which is going to make their own food. This is the parasitic plant. Take an example here given in the Coscota or Amarvel plant. Coscota example. Amarvel or Coscota plant. That is nothing but Coscota plant. Now this is a plant and this will be the Coscota plant. Now this plant should be grow. It requires what? It requires food. So that this plant is going to win with this plant. It is going to climb on this plant. It is going to climb on this plant and it is going to like this. This is the plant which is going to make the ready-made food and this is going to depend on this food. So that this plant starts to climb this plant. This Coscota plant starts to climb this plant. While climbing this plant, it is going to depend on this plant only. So that when you climb this plant, it is going to absorb or take out the nutrients which are present in this plant, so that it should justify or it should satisfy its food requirement. How it is going to absorb all those things? Because it has a sucking roots. It has a different types of the roots. That is nothing but it has the sucking roots. These sucking roots are going to suck all the nutrients which are present in this plant. It is going to suck all the nutrients which are going to present in this plant by this special type of roots, that is nothing but the sucking roots. So that sucking roots are going to absorb all the nutrients which are present in this plant, so that this parasitic plant should grow. So that we can say that different type of roots which are known as sucking roots, are going to suck the nutrients from the host. Right? This Cuscota plant has different type of roots. There is nothing but the sucking roots. These sucking roots are going to, this plant is going to climb on this plant. These sucking roots are going to suck the nutrients which are present in this plant, so that it has its own food, ready-made food, so that it will take the ready-made food and it will start to grow. In this manner, the parasitic plant works. In the same manner, here we came with a new word, that is nothing but host. What do you mean by host? Host is nothing but the plant which is going to give the food material to the parasitic plant. Or we can say that the parasitic plant which is dependent on the other plant. Right? Or you can say that the plant on which the parasitic plants are dependent. The plant on which the parasitic plants are dependent is known as host. So that we can say that host is nothing but on which the parasitic plants are dependent. On which the parasitic plants are dependent. Parasitic plants are known as host. That means if this is the parasitic plant, this is the plant on which this is dependent, so that we can say that this is the host. This is the host on which it is dependent. I think this is clear about the parasitic plants, all about the parasitic plants. So then we can say that we can conclude that parasitic plants are nothing but the parasitic plants are the plants which are dependent on the other plants for the purpose of their nutrients, or they are going to deprive the nutrients from the other plants. Just remember, which are dependent on the other things are known as parasitic. In the same manner, in the parasitic plants, there is no presence of the chlorophyll. If there is no presence of the chlorophyll, that means they are not going to make their own food. They are not going to prepare their own food. For example, amarbe, there is nothing but Cuscota. Cuscota plant is the example for the parasitic plant. How they are going to take out the food from that host? They are going to take out the food from the host, like they have a different type of roots. Those different type of roots are known as sucking roots. Those sucking roots are going to suck the nutrients or deprive the nutrients which are present in the host, so that to just satisfy their food requirement. This is all about the what? Parasitic nutrients of parasitic plant. In the next class, we are going to discuss about the saprophytic, as well as we are going to discuss the insectivorous. We are going to discuss again the symbiotic nutrition in the plants. After that, we are going to discuss the how nutrients are replenished in the soil. After that, the chapter will be completed. So that in the next two classes, we are going to complete this chapter, and we are going to discuss the exercise in the next sections of this class. Up to that point, up to that topics to be covered. Thank you. Stay well.